and welcome to McEwen Bars podcast. My name's Jamie. We're with Gregor today, and this one's a little bit of a sort of different one. We're going to do all about sort of $1,000,000 ideas that we've had. And from a very young age, me and Gregor have both been sort of entrepreneurial, always thought of having our own business and doing our own thing. I started off, working from a very young age, at the age of 14, to obviously starting running a gardening business with Gregor. And now we're both obviously finished uni and working for companies, but still sort of coming up with ideas. So in this episode, I'm going to critique Gregor's ideas and talk about a few ideas that I've got myself. So Gregor, do you want to get started with some of your ideas for today's episode?
Yes. Well, my ideas come from sleeping in my bed or shower thoughts, and you're just about to doze off, and I get a epiphany, and I'm like, oh, that sounds quite a good idea. And then you jot it down in my notes on my phone. I recommend everybody does that, no matter what it is, even if it's not a business idea. It's a good way to jot down your thoughts before you go to sleep and before you wake up in the morning and forget.
Yeah, give a clear head for the day, or even just clearing the head for a good night's sleep.
Exactly. So the first idea I want to jump into is I came up with this one based on the fact that throughout uni I had a projector, and everybody who experienced the projector loved it, and then ended up upgrading the sound to surround sound. And then I've had it recently in the flat that I'm in at the moment, and always thought kind of recently that you could actually rent this out as a service. So Jamie, the idea is that you would create a cinema package. This is the way you advertise it, the portable cinema for your home or for businesses as well. And you basically provide them with a 4K projector. You give them surround sound speakers. Now you're charging about, I think the market rate roughly, maybe about £100 a night, or for 24 hours. And they can extend that obviously, but maybe the extended rate is a reduced rate. So £100 for the first night, and then maybe £40 thereafter going on. But the whole idea is that you provide them with a 4K cinematic experience, and they use it in their house, and you can put it anywhere, and it's portable. So say they want it outside, they want it in their lounge, they can use it for a family movie night, or they can have it for a game day. Say there's the final, the Champions League's final, you can get the full experience there. That's the first idea.
Okay. So first thoughts, obviously you've said this idea to me before, Gregor, and I've already probably given some thoughts on it, but my first thought when I first heard this, really good idea. I think people would like it, such as you said, the Champions League, big events, boxing nights, to have, like, even just if the weather's nice, to put it in the garden, have the surround sound, big projector. People would just love that. I do think there's flaws in terms of if something was to break, the costs of getting things fixed can be quite high, and also having a 4K projector can be, like the starting cost can be quite hard to sort of get it going, and then also getting your name out there for people to actually start. So as I was saying, Greg, the startup cost for like getting into this sort of market for your home cinema sort of setup, I think it'd be quite hard to get that sort of setup. But I think in the long term, once you've built a sort of a good client base and you've got a good social media presence, it would definitely be something that be good. And I think it's probably quite a good actually business idea. I was hoping to actually hear from you starting that at some point in the last year from our other challenge from our dad. But obviously that's not came through yet. But yeah, no, that's a good idea. What's your second idea, Gregor?
So the second idea I have is a waterproof protective coating, but for new shoes. So I think there's a market there, or there's a growing base of people buying maybe more trendy shoes, spending a bit more on their shoes to stay in trend, or make themselves look a bit different. And if you can provide you do get this, which is like a waterproof coating for shoes and clothes that you just spray on.
Yeah.
But I always think they come in a can, and you kind of spray it on yourself, and they kind of say, within a week or a couple of weeks you need to respray it. It gets expensive. Why not have a service where you can actually deliver shoes to your premises, and you actually provide them at your professional quality service of spraying, and maybe you give it like a day or two to let them all dry, and then you spray it again, and that means you can have a guarantee of X amount of days for this protective spray. And that means that if they're going out wearing these shoes, it's actually they have to still clean them, obviously. This spray is not going to solve everything, but the cleaning process will be a lot easier, and actually means that the shoe's life lasts longer. That's an idea.
Okay. Is it like the similar aspect of like, when people buy an expensive car, they go get it like ceramic coated to protect it? So you're
Ex-
saying people are spending more money now in shoes, that you're thinking that actually there's a market for people to actually now spend more money on actually just even keeping them good. And I
exactly.
would agree with that from the Yeezys, the Balenciagas, these shoes that are costing upwards of 500 to and £10,000 per shoe. People will be willing to pay that. In terms of viable, I can't imagine, like, I wouldn't myself like buy a pair of shoes at like £100 and then go spend like 10, £20 on then maintaining them. Because for me, I would just use them, buy something else, get something new again. It wouldn't be something. So I think providing the service is probably like more like a high end product. So it's something you'd be looking at for people who are buying these sort of high end brands like Off White, Balenciagas. As I said. So yeah, it's quite a good idea in terms of getting that set up and also using what product. There's already products out there that's doing that, doing these similar things. How do you have a product, or how do you create how much is it going to cost you to create this product that lasts longer than the other providers that are already out there? I think there's like a challenge in the aspect of what the product would be and how long you can actually make it last longer compared to what people can just maybe do with themselves. That's where I think you probably need to provide another service in terms of actually maybe adding to it. So when people send their shoes, you're actually doing like a cleaning service or repairing as well. So you add a whole mix of things to that product instead of just being the one individual thing.
I think that's a good idea. It's almost like an en route. So say people buy the shoes, and then you protect them away right straight away, and then further down the line the shoes do deteriorate, and they know exactly who to come to get it
Yeah.
fixed. So then it's like an in route to basically building that relationship with clients. Um, yeah, I guess I totally understand where you're coming from with regards to you can buy like cracked spray. The reason I came up with this idea is I bought some expensive shoes relatively lately. They are kind of like trail shoes, and I thought if I'm out running or if I'm out getting dirty, getting the shoes dirty, I want to be able to clean them quickly and make them last longer. Going on Amazon and looking at different types of sprays, and you look at the reviews, and it's like some of them say, "Oh, it changes the color of the shoes. Don't go for it." Some are like, "Oh, this isn't a good product," and it's hard to choose a good product for a half decent price. So I thought, yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be an
Yeah.
art market product. It's going to be maybe not mass market, but you can charge accordingly for that. I would think maybe one to experiment with, and I guess you're combining different industries together. So you've got people buying spray in a can, and then you've got people who are looking for that extra, more high quality service. And then as a service itself, you're providing this nano coating, but maybe in a professional setting. So maybe you're using, it's like Airfix airbrush sprays. So you're actually providing more of
Yeah.
a better coating rather than like a can spray, which will lose its spray over time, with lack of a better word, but it's pressure. So you actually maybe can provide a better quality spray all
Yeah.
the time consistently, and that's obviously part of the service. But combining those different services, you can
Yeah.
make it a better product, a better experience for people. So yeah, I'd agree. Agree with you there.
Okay.
Do you want me to move on to
Okay.
another one?
Um, Yeah, let's hear the third idea. Just to let the audience know, there's Gregor has 10 ideas of some business ideas that he's got. I've got a few as well, which Gregor asked me throughout this as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jimmy, I would be interested to hear what your one is now.
Okay, so my sort of business ideas, I've always sort of obviously me and Gregor ran a garden business. It was quite successful for quite a period of time. Gregor kind of left it to go off to do his own thing, start sort of building his career, and I took it over. In that period, I did think when I finished uni, when I was doing this, basically, it was just before I finished uni. I was doing this garden business. I thought I was going to take it over and basically start building it up to a client base to have sort of like a fleet of vans. So make it like more of a commercial sort of side of it, and end up having like a fleet of vans, fleet of machinery, so lawnmowers, commercial lawnmowers, and doing it bigger deals. So what it would be is we'll have a head office sort of central belt, and it would basically would cover all of central Scotland. And we just have a fleet of like 10, 20 vans who go out throughout the summer, and obviously winter months to clear things, cut down trees, and the whole idea was just basically doing from scaling up our basic business, what I was doing before, and the skill set I'd learned from that, get more qualifications to like obviously cutting trees down, become more specialised, and then just grow the client base from there. And then within growing the client base, obviously grow the sort of staff levels to then grow sort of the margins and henceforward and just sort of grow it in that sense. So that's what my thought of what was like my business idea of going forward.
I think
What do you think, Gregor?
I can see where you're coming from. I understand why that service would exist. You know, there's big clients out there that need these services, you know, the grass cutting, trees felling. But for me, looking at your idea and your plan, or, you know, the idea of building out, you know, you've got a base and then you release, you know, your jobs, your employees to these different jobs. That sounds great. And I think it's like a lot of people do that as you go, okay, yeah, this is how it would work. This is my dream. And then you talk about qualifications, you talk about, you know, the different clients that you'd have. But bringing it back, I do think it's, you know, it's almost like you're thinking like in a dreamland. Where do you spend the time to get qualifications? Where do you source your employees from? Where do you get the deals from? Who are your clients? Why are they your clients? Do they already have a service that they already use? Why are you better? These sort of things come into play. Because I think it's a super competitive market. And if you think about it, the councils run their own garden services. There's groundkeepers for big plots of land that already are on site for a reason. They're cheaper to employ. But you do see businesses like this that are, I think there's one close to us in some industrial state, which, you know, is ground maintenance. And then again, you could diversify into landscaping, like car landscaping. There's good money in that as well. So I like the idea, and I think it, you know, it definitely could be, you could make it something very special. But then again, it's like, it's a whole lifestyle. I think you'd have to dedicate, as with any successful business. And from our experience, I guess, in the gardening world, you realize to actually become good at it, you actually need to totally invest in it. And that, like you were saying, get the qualifications, understand how everything works, which comes with time, and you can do that. But from starting off not working for somebody else who's been in that trade and understanding how it actually works, I think you're on the back foot already. But that's not to say that you can do it. I like the idea. I like the idea that maybe you got the jobs going about, but it's more like, I think the margins are going to be very small. You're going to be working very tightly to maintain your equipment. Setup costs might be a lot as well. You could certainly build up slowly, like, you know, you just buy the equipment as you go along. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Thank you, Greg. I definitely think it's one of these ideas that probably you had when you did the garden business as well. Maybe scaling it up a little bit, but yeah, it's I think for me it's probably in the past, like the idea of you've obviously came up with a couple of ideas where it's like providing a product. You know, a product can be given to the mass markets, and the mass market's a lot bigger than an area.
I think
you can sell.
Yeah, exactly. You do. You know, it's not to say that these sort of businesses are very successful and, you know, have a lot of enjoyment with it, you know, as well. Yeah. So it's a bit of a mix, but there's also the side of it. I think, you know, what I've realized is there's a lot. You know, you start off doing the grunt work, and people do that for their career, but there's a lot easier ways to make money, rather than like lifting slabs and doing that kind of grunt work, which is good. And, you know, you do get super fit from it, and there's good aspects of it always. But yeah, it's maybe the passion maybe wasn't there for it. And we did touch on that in another episode. Find your passion sort of thing.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, Gar, what's your next idea?
Yeah, so this comes back from working as a field sales executive with Uber Eats. There's a business that started up in Edinburgh called Maggie's Nutritional House, which is basically she provides catered services for people who want to have a healthy diet, provide the healthy juices that she thinks they need in their diet. Do you mind go plug in my laptop? It's nearly dying.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, what you call an unprepared podcaster. He'll be written down in the bottom of the comments. Please roast him for not plugging his laptop in. And now his mic is not working.
Is it not?
Oh wait, no, it is back. Yes, there we go.
Okay, we're back in business. And the idea is that it's a healthy, your approach is healthy brands that are providing this sort of service to cater for local market. They normally have their own shop. I found one in Edinburgh. You approach them and say, look, let's make your product more a product for more people, or you kind of systemize it for online and provide basically a health service or juice service to detox or to suit people's certain diets. They fill in an online questionnaire. Based on the answers they fill in online, you then cater a not a meal plan, a juice plan for these people. And then you kind of deliver that in the morning, do a morning run, and then they get it for the week. And then the idea is that with this, they feel a lot better, and you're working with local businesses as well, just expanding their market reach. Pretty much the expertise in this I see was basically behind the marketing, whereas the person you're partnering with, the juice houses, have all the expertise in the nutrition, and they've done that side. So you're just providing the marketing for it. I thought that's an inroad to capitalizing on this sort of juice craze, basically.
Yeah, I definitely see that as a growing trend. I think now with what's going on, I see it in my own work and stuff with Huel, like people having smoothies as like a food supplement instead of having a meal. They're having like this smoothie that's providing all the nutrients and stuff. Obviously with the health benefits of it, and people just seeing it as a simple way to a busy life if you're busy day in and day out. Definitely, I think that's a good idea, and I think there's probably opportunity for like more businesses to do it, or more like there's a gap in the market to add to it, and be maybe something different.
Yeah, I guess as well, the way I was thinking about it, you do get business out there doing this already, but they're like a sole business operating somewhere in the UK, and they distribute from the one location. My idea was maybe you partner with a local business. The idea based on they already have a clientele, and then you're just providing an extra service on top of it. The margins might not be as good, but maybe people are more drawn towards, I'm getting my juice from a local business based in Edinburgh. I'm going to support them rather than a larger business I don't know anything about. And then you do that across every city in the UK. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a juice business around the UK who focus on this in most cities. Obviously, it's a trend when people are getting involved. You're just providing an extra service on top, and then you just kind of broaden your reach around the UK, around the cities, and work with your partner sites, basically. That's the premise.
Okay. That's so far. I'd say that's probably I think like as an idea, most promising one I would say so far from your end, Greg. Your next one, I see it's all about a QR code. Can you tell the audience obviously what a QR code is, and then tell us what you mean,
of course.
This idea is about.
When you go to a restaurant sometimes, especially nowadays, there's maybe a QR code to access the menu or order food from, and you can do it all through a code. Track and trace. So basically you just go on your phone, point your camera to it, and typically it comes up with like a URL based on the code. You click on the URL, opens your browser, and you have access to the information that whatever the QR code is trying to get across. My idea was that you could basically, people create playlists on Spotify, and some people create playlists for certain reasons. You could, for example, a Valentine's playlist. And I think that's so thoughtful. Imagine basically being like I made this playlist for you. Now, back in the day, people were maybe given CDs of here's my, or a tape or something like that. Here's my Valentine's disc for you, which is, I think, so thoughtful. But putting the modern twist on it, why not have like a service where you create the playlist on Spotify and you can click options to share that playlist? And I believe one of the options to share that playlist is basically you can basically create a QR code based off that playlist, and you can even do it as a keyring. So every time everybody has keys, car keys, house keys. On that keyring is just a QR code for a playlist. So whenever you're out, you're like, oh, I need that playlist. Or anybody somebody asks you, what's that on your keyring? Oh, it's a playlist. Scan it. They can scan it and just get access to it right away. It's a bit quirky.
Yeah, that's like a Etsy sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Do. And I feel like you could set that up quite like
I think
to do that
already.
on like Etsy. to do that is no, I really like that idea. Like being able to, I think the way you've related it to the aspect of like the old people used to make tapes up and mix tracks together and then put it on either tape or CD for you to listen to. Definitely, it's sort of a cool way to sort of have a unique playlist and stuff. That's another good idea. I think that's a simple one to sort of have in the background. That's a business that could work in itself. Like you could literally set it up and then leave it. You wouldn't have to do an awful lot with it. And because Spotify's that big a company, it's not something that's just going to disappear. So, like, if anything, it will grow with the more users Spotify gets.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well.
So, like, you've got people who are paying a subscription. Yeah. And then there's other aspect of you reach out to Spotify and you try to get it so it's on their app that's like QR code, and then underneath it's like $1.99 keychain.
I mean, that'd be next level if they did that. But
that would be unreal. The amount of customers you get from that probably be an awful in the millions anyway. Okay. So yeah, that's a good idea. That's idea number 4 of 10.
Yes. Rather than me going on a lot about ideas, Jamie, do you have another one you want to share?
Yeah. My other idea is kind of similar to the gardening. Done from a young age, done some car washing, obviously washed parents' cars, and always saw that, like, next to neighbour, they wanted their car washed, ended up doing theirs, getting a little bit extra money for it. And my thought was, like, I've seen these videos, obviously, and like you see them on TikTok, you see them on social media all the time with like people who go out and detail like sort of high-end cars. And it's sort of this mobile valeting, so they have all the materials, they have the wipes, they have all the wax and sprays and jet wash and stuff built into the van. And I like the idea of doing that, having a mobile fleet similar to sort of the gardening, where you just build it up, that you have a business that goes and gives specific detailing to the higher end market. The people who have these sports cars that are willing to pay £100 for a full detail of their car so it's immaculate, but also get like the ceramic coating such as your shoes, to just add that sort of extra service to make it longer lasting, but also to create that demand that people are like, okay, I'll come back to you. They want to come back to you.
I think obviously there's a lot of people doing it, and I think because it's the barrier to entry is really low. And you can obviously your USP is just the service you provide to people, making sure that you're reliable, you provide a good service, and then I guess people do expand it out to be okay. We're going to go down the more luxury market route, and then you can specialize in your product, and you can build out. You can upsell even. You'd be like, oh, we've got this waxing this week. It's a £10 extra, but actually it'll last longer. Do you want to take it? And you're like, oh yeah, that sounds quite good. And then you can upsell that way as well. So I think there's a lot of avenues for extra growth and extra revenue. And I think you know. Having a van, you're out, out doing your thing. Obviously, in the winter months, might not be as nice, and you might have a unit as well. Might just branch out and have a unit, and that might be another service where people come to you instead from you going to them, and that might be more efficient as well, because you actually might make a better job. You got better lighting, maybe a bit higher costs on your end to maintain the unit, but you might get more clients that way. So yeah, it's an interesting idea.
Definitely. I think one of the things, so like one thing I've already tell from the comparison from me and you, Gregor, is you've got the ideas of a product, and the product way can be a simpler and way to make money. Once it's set up, it can be literally turn itself over once you've got it sort of up and running. I think because I'm quite a people's person, been doing sales for the last few years, and just quite enjoy a social aspect of talking to people face to face. I think that's the reason why I only think about services. So like my two main ideas are obviously both of them. You're interacting with people.
I would disagree with that, because I feel like with the stuff that I've got ideas wise and more coming up, you do meet people, you do interact. The projector business, you need to go in and set up the projector, and then forget that. Rather than being like the salesman selling everything, you could be seeing your staff every day and interacting with them, making sure they're happy. And I feel like you'd be really good at that as well. I think maybe the ideas you've come up with as well are, we've done the gardening stuff in the past, and the valeting stuff is stuff from online. I'm doing the same. I'm coming with ideas that people have done already, maybe combining two different things. So maybe it's just a bit about being a bit more creative, as in come up with two ideas and join them together. Like I thought of QR codes, Spotify playlists. How does that come together? Just that's maybe thinking that needs to go around, but it's interesting the way you think about it.
Yeah, no, that's good. So yeah, Gregor, let's go move
Fire
on to
on.
your next idea.
So next one is again working at Uber Eats. I came up with this one. I noticed a lot of small restaurants in Edinburgh are struggling, or even asking us, how do I promote my business? How do I get more sales? How do I reach more customers? There's a whole huge student market as well, and they know their product's good. They sell good food. They get good reviews. But want to expand. So I thought, why not provide a service where, or a website where you match students who are studying marketing or design or anything related to that they can boost a business's
Yeah,
revenue, marketing wise, and then match them to restaurants. And now basically what you're doing is students get work experience. Maybe a bit bad because you're capitalizing on lower paid students in a way. But I think it's
yeah,
an opportunity for them to learn as well. So you can always match them up, create a pricing structure, and then maybe you just get a small fee based on obviously the price the students are paid for their work, and there's a fee involved. And maybe maybe the restaurants pay a monthly subscription to the business, and then they get access to all the students rather than paying students directly, which might get a bit funky, and the business deals with everything. It's just all about a
yeah,
marketplace, basically matching restaurants with students to help boost their marketing. Because I feel like the businesses that are successful in like maybe Uber Eats and Deliveroo and outside of that, their social media game is like on point. The Instagram followings, in the thousands. Whereas there's all these other brands that I feel like are, they get great reviews for the quality of food, but they struggle to build that other presence online. So if they have the opportunity to
yeah.
do that, I think there's a lot of value add there for them. That's the idea.
That's yeah. No, I think that's a smart idea to basically is kind of maximizing on cheap labor. Obviously, you're going to use students who are needing the work experience, but it's also a good way to help them. Like, so I'm obviously recent student that's finished. In terms of marketing, that opportunity to actually go do that sort of experience would excite me. It'd be interesting, and then if you end up doing well at it, these businesses might end up being like taking you on
That's a
in the
really good
long
point.
term because you're good
Yeah.
at it. So it also opens up that avenue. But then a lot of these businesses, when I've finished and looked to sort of get into that market of marketing, all of them have kind of said, "Oh, 1 or 2 years experience in this, 1 year's experience of this. Oh, we'd like you to at least know, Google AdWords or Facebook marketing. You need to have like some understanding of all of this sort of stuff to get into the industry." So I would 100% say that providing this, using students to help them, it's like sort of like a
What
win-win
you
situation
just made me
for.
think, even if the student signs up, the business itself could provide learnings for the students. So students are learning, getting value
Yeah,
from that, getting paid. The restaurants are getting value from the students' experience and get learning. And I feel like with small restaurants, there's less risk because they're not big established businesses. If they do something wrong, the impact's not huge, but the potential is a lot greater than the risk.
massive.
So
Yeah,
I think it's worth exploring.
yeah, no, that's a good idea. Let audience, if you've got any sort of, obviously we've gone over quite a few ideas so far. Just let us know down in the comments what you think, any ideas you've got yourself. It'd be great to hear from you. But what we'll do is we'll continue on. Gregor's got quite a few sort of left to go. Unfortunately, I've not got not got many in my head anymore. But Gregor, we'll fire through your next
Yeah, let's do it.
five.
So the next one is a 360-degree video photo booth. So people in weddings, certain events, corporate events.
Yeah,
There's normally a photo booth there, and it's maybe just a booth they actually go into, like a passport studio, and they have like toys and stuff to play with, or somebody actually taking photographs. But it's always the static one image on the
yeah,
front, facing them, they facing the camera. There's this product out there where it's like 360 spinning. I first saw it online. I just thought you could just bring that to Scotland, basically approach some businesses. I don't see many people. I haven't seen it actually in real life in the UK. Well,
yeah,
personally, so I always thought, yeah, it'd be quite cool if there's a business launching, if a restaurant's launching. They might want to create like a little video, and you can always put branding around it. People share it on social media.
yeah.
It's actually quite cool. You can do slow motion. They can have it eating a burger or something like that. And imagine you spinning round slow motion. They're eating your burger, and they see the full detail of the food or whatever product it is. It's just a nice touch,
Yeah.
and I think it's it's an add-on to an event, basically.
Definitely, I think that's a good product to have. Do well, weddings, parties, venues, 100% will work well. Probably not going to cost an awful lot to set up, but I think you could charge quite a lot, or even charge per photo that's taken, which would be even probably better profitability. In terms of obviously, you obviously still have to get like good equipment, make sure it's maintained and looked after. Other thing is like obviously I know you've got the 360. I don't know if you've seen like the ones that like the in America, what's it called? The shows when it's this quick action camera that zooms in and they do like a quick movement. You know, like have like a couple of different things instead of just being like a regular photo.
Like that.
Definitely a business out there, and I think for Scotland there's probably a market for that as well, Gregor. But good idea. Let's
So
go into
there's
it.
a local business, people have obviously seen, maybe seen the adverts called, I'm going to probably butcher this, but it's Oni pizzas, pizza ovens basically. So they're
Okay.
portable pizza ovens that sit on top of like a table, not too big. They fire up to like 300 degrees, and the idea is you can make really fast pizzas. You put it in for like less than 5 minutes, and you've got a beautiful pizza at the end. Now this business is based just outside Edinburgh, and they are doing really well. They've all got jobs listings, they're advertising, they're in the US, they're, doing really well. But I always thought to buy these products is quite expensive. And to be honest, unless you really like pizzas, how often are you going to use it? Because I've thought you buy it for our parents for the Christmas, and they can make really good pizzas.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it'll probably get used like a couple of times. It'll sit in the garage, collect dusts. They'll pass it on to us maybe to use. So I always thought, why not? You can make it into a service basically. You rent it out, maybe £40 a night, maybe £50 a night if you want the full equipment. So you got like trays that hold like the meats and stuff that they can fill up.
Yeah.
Different packages for the length of time, and maybe different packages for the size of ovens because they do offer different sizes. That was the idea, and you just kind of take a product, make it into a rental service, and then that's your kind of service there.
Yeah. I like the idea. Obviously, we've had experience of something maybe a little bit similar when we were down in Cheshire, where we had a guy's turned up in the Land Rover that had been converted, the back of it into a pizza oven. Gregor, I don't know if you remember that, but it's obviously adding that sort of quirky aspect. It's like a vehicle that's been converted. I think what your thing's good is like people. It's a limited market. It'll be literally for special events. People wouldn't just do it for a small gathering. I don't think the cost to value that they see for just a pizza oven. I don't know if it's going to be unique enough for people to be like something different. Whereas like I feel like that guy who turned up with the Land Rover and he was creating all the pizzas and he was showing us like literally creating them fresh in front of your eyes. That service was like worth it. I think if you were to do yours instead of just a rental, it would need to be more of an actual service you did. So you turned up with the people providing the service that you're creating these pizzas.
You make the pizzas for the people. Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
And I do get the guy with the van and the pizza oven in the van is quirky. And then, you don't have to do anything. You're just kind of relaxing, chilling, enjoying your time. So yeah, it's maybe a different angle to it because you're getting people involved. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
The other thing you could do it like the only other thing I can think of is like a corporate event. You could be like corporate when they do these days away for the team and everyone that works in them. You could be like selling it to them for just businesses as a sort of social thing where they get together and you actually rent out like 4 or 5 of them and they're as a team. It's all about team building, sort of creating these pizzas together, and then you provide like drinks and they can all sit and have pizza and drinks and stuff together. So you provide sort of more of a social thing. But good idea. Think it needs a little bit of working to just not be the pizza ovens. It needs that extra bit to be more value for people. But yeah,
cool. Okay. Good advice. Thank you. Next idea is poster prints, but the idea is again maybe another Etsy sort of similar idea. You create a poster, and then it's like maybe people can customize the location, the city, the town, whatever on the poster. But just below it is maybe the distance from that location, but below that's maybe the steps. So it's just a wee bit kind of quirky thing, like how many steps it takes to go to this location from where you are. So you put 2 locations in the system, it calculates the distance, calculates how many steps that is, and that's kind of your service. But that came up with this idea, Jamie, is because do you remember when we were in DC and then we went to the hotel room and we're looking at the window at the hotel, and because we're in DC and it's like so many steps to the Mound or something like that, it was like so many steps to like famous locations, but it was on the window of the hotel. You can look through it, but it's just in writing. I thought that's quite quirky, quite a neat idea. What happens if you just make it into a little product on online. And steps don't have to be super accurate, but it gives you it makes you in perspective. And you're in a hotel, oh, it takes me
Yeah.
5,000 steps to get to where I want to go. It's a little quirky feature of where you need to go.
I like the idea. I just don't see where you'd make money in it. I don't know where you like. Do you sell it to customers? How does that become a business? The other thought I have, like, straight off the bat of what you've said is, like, schools, how kids do school trips and stuff like that. You add the aspect of, like, oh, if we were to go from here to there, it'd be like this many steps. But I just feel like it's not. It's not
Yes,
something
it's not
that
a business.
I think it's not a
It's just an
business.
idea for a gift that yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
reckon
pretty
you could
much.
easily, well, not easily, but simplify it down. So it's just basically a website where people put in two coordinates, gives you distance, gives you steps, move that into a print format, and then you charge like £1 for
Yeah,
that. I don't know, Etsy, and then it's
yeah,
like, okay, people can print it off themselves. We can send them the prints. I think people do that. I think people have that idea on Etsy and these sort of websites. There is one where, those maps that are kind of like stencils. There's
yeah,
websites that are based off, like, they basically take Google Maps, stencilize it, you put what location you want in it, and then they send you the print. It's kind of like that idea,
yeah,
but with the step count in a way. Maybe a
yeah.
bit
Just I
corny.
don't. Yeah, well, a little
Okay,
bit. I think.
shall we move on?
Yeah,
The other one I have, the
final
final two.
two.
So the other one I have is basically a local, maybe, or national kind of knife sharpening service. I don't know about you, Jamie, but having blunt knives is more dangerous than sharp knives. You're chopping veg, you're kind of actually forcing yourself to get through the simplest thing, and you take one slip, just the pressure you're applying can, like, give you a big nasty cut in your hand. But as soon as you get a
Yeah,
nice,
100%.
nice sharp knife, you're slicing through it. It's nice and easy. It's a much more pleasant experience cooking. I think people have a lot of good knives in their house. Why not provide a service where you can just, like, make sure that knife is going to be the sharpest thing ever if you use us, because you get those home tools that you just kind
Yeah,
of scrape a few times and it does make it sharper, but maybe an extra upmarket, yeah, professional
professional
service.
service.
Because I know obviously restaurants do this, and they do it for a reason,
Yeah,
and perhaps you can branch out into that market. So this is maybe taking the professional service, taking it back into the consumer's hands, and providing them sharper knives, basically.
yeah. The first thing came to my mind there, Gregor, was with the growing demand of takeaways and places a lot less people are cooking. I think, like, in this day and age, people are like can't be bothered cooking, and if they are cooking, they obviously really enjoy it, and you'd be able to get these people who are making a lot of dishes, and it's still a good enough market, I think, for that. But you do have the aspect of it's maybe not as big as what it could
I
be
would I would
because of
disagree.
growing.
I'm gonna counter that because there's services such as, like, Gusto, like, that provide the food boxes and you make the meals. They're
Yeah,
so
how many
popular.
people do you?
Like,
Yeah, but how many do you know? It's a quick question for you. Fire that. You fire it back at me. I'll fire it back at you. um, how many people do you know that use Gusto?
I I, I know a few people have used it, and then you actually have Gusto,
Used it or use it?
like, use it. You've
Okay.
got Gusto, you've got, like, HelloFresh, you've got Mindful Chef. There's not one business in this marketplace, so I think that says to you that I feel like a lot of the time, and I struggle with this as well. If it's not based on your experience, there's no market there, right? And
Yeah.
you kind of try tunnel visioned,
Yeah.
and I feel like if to understand it, you need to do the research and obviously see if there is a market out there for it. Because I feel like if I don't enjoy it, why would I sell it? Which makes sense. That's part of
Yeah.
business and maybe why people don't get into certain industries. So because there's three big businesses out there, VC backed, probably backed by, I think Mindful Chef is backed by one of the supermarkets as well, or they have them as they
Okay.
use their food basically. So even supermarkets are getting involved in the game. So for me to
Yeah.
basically say all these people are cooking and using blunt knives or having to buy knives every year, Maybe there's
Yeah.
an extra service on top. Obviously, it's not going to be huge. No, it's going to be like, oh, I need my knife sharpened, and they might be using those little plasticky knives that are just not, because you wouldn't get that sharpened, right? A little cheap knife.
Yeah.
You get something that's a good knife and get it sharpened, right?
Yeah. Get a
So I
good.
think there's a
Yeah.
market there for it, rather than us, maybe a student buying deliveries every week.
Yeah.
The market is more at market or something,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Should we move on to the last one?
Yeah. Last one, and then we'll give the audience a little bit of insight to like maybe what we should do, what you can do to have these ideas, because you've obviously came up quite a lot, Gregor. I'd like to have to share how you've done it or where you get them from.
So the last one that I have is, I always thought you do get, it's basically based on plasters. So plasters for cuts on your hands and fingers and stuff, or on your body. You do get kids plasters, which are a bit more colourful. They might have an animal on them, or even like you be like emojis. The idea is that you would be able to customize these, or even just buy funky plasters. So a whole website dedicated to like funky plasters, and yeah, that's a product you can do on Amazon. Use all these different kind of third party websites to sell them, but you specialize in these funky plasters, because I think a normal plaster is a pink color, doesn't really match your skin anyway in the first place. So why would you, everybody does it, you put that on your skin and it's fine. Doesn't really matter. But if you have something that's a bit more funky, obviously not everybody's wearing plasters every day, but everybody has plasters in their house. And if you were to be like, everybody probably uses one in a year. And if you get a cut and you can
Yeah.
put on a plaster that's a bit funnier, maybe a joke on it or something, or a bit funky, it's a nicer experience for that negative aspect that you have of an injury. And then I think it's just a
Yeah.
nicer way to, I don't know. It's just another quirky idea that I had. I thought, you could set something up that has this element of quirkiness to it. It's more fun. Maybe you can bring in aspects of the environment. The plasters could be more environmentally friendly. You can customize them. You could do brand deals with them. People walking about with Coca-Cola plasters or something like that, something really stupid along those lines. Just think just a quirky product that is pretty much bland from the outset, you flip on its head and give it a bit of life. That's all the idea.
Yeah, I think that's I've not got much to say in that, Greg. I think it's a great idea because you could so switch it around from dinosaurs for little kids to stupid stuff for adults, and yeah, like that's something that the mass you've got such a large market for it, and everyone, as you say, at least probably once a year, someone puts a plaster on, all being it for a blister, for a cut, for anything. Something's get used at some point. So yeah, good idea, like that. Um, so guys, obviously that's the sort of coming to the end of today's podcast. Gregor has given us quite a lot of ideas there. Unfortunately, I don't have as many. I'm not as creative as Gregor in or even writing down the notes. But what I want to ask Gregor is, you've obviously come up with quite a few ideas. How do you come up with them? Or like, is it something that just pops into the head? Or is it like, do you actually have times where you just maybe sit and go, do you know what, I want to have a wee think about, like business ideas? Or can you let the audience know of what you do?
Yeah, of course. I do think when you force it, it doesn't work. So if you
Okay.
you can brainstorm and stuff, maybe that might work. If you're with people, it might work. But if I were to sit down at a desk and be like, I'm going to come up with 10 ideas that I think are going to be amazing, and I'll break them down. For me, that hasn't really worked in the past. I have to have some form of stimulus, something that makes me think of an idea. For example, all these have come from something I've seen online, and I'm scrolling through the internet or on social media, or I'm in the shop and I see something that I want. Say I'm going to buy plasters and I'm like, why are these all bland? And then you see the children's one and you're like, that's maybe a bit too small for me. Oh, why don't I not bring them together? And then literally what I do, I think what's important is to have a system to jot them down. So even if they're dreadful ideas, I've come up with a few today that are maybe a bit you weren't so keen on, I still jot it down. So have a system to get them from your mind onto paper so you have them stored. That's what I do. And if it's the worst thing on planet Earth, I'll still do it because I think I'll maybe transform it. It could become something else. I've spoken to you today. You give me a few ideas for something that I thought were good, but you needed something a bit extra, and that would make it a good idea. After all, these are just ideas. They might not actually be good in the mass market. People might not want them. So what I do is I use an app called Google Keep. I jot it down the idea, I in the title of the note, I put business idea, and then I jot down my thoughts on the idea, how it could work, and even sometimes it's just like a line, funky plasters,
Okay.
and then when I come back to it, it's in my notes. I can maybe add to it, but I always put the
Okay.
same title so I can always find them again. And what I do
Yeah.
is I have another sheet, which is maybe a bit corny, is I have another sheet of Notion that I use to jot them down, and I actually give them like star ratings and like the mass market appeal. Are they a big market, small market? Do I know much about the product? I know a lot about this market. I don't know much. Like the learning curve for me. And then that's kind of how I kind of decide on which one I want to focus on or what I think will be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just systemize that whole process. But a lot of the time, my ideas come from in bed, just as I'm about to sleep, I'll have an idea and I jot it down. And that's the worst time because your mind is racing, or you're in the shower, or I'm out in the shop, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. I know some of these ideas. So, like the first idea, obviously the cinema one. I know you've had that idea for at least a year. Um, Obviously, some of these ideas might be older, newer. I would like to ask, why have you not done one of them?
Yeah. So,
I know it's a hard
do you know
question
what?
because me and you have both had some ideas beforehand, and we've talking about them on this episode. But some of these ideas you could have started, you could have tried it. Is there any particular reason why you've not, or is it not? What's Can you give us the audience sort of like a understanding of why?
I think it's a couple of reasons for me. And I think the first one is like I've kind of realizing I'm a procrastinator. Like I perform really well close to the deadline. I feel like if it comes down, I need like a deadline that I don't feel like working up to deadline. If it's a long period of time, I fill that time up. I procrastinate. I feel like I'm being productive, but I'm not. It's always the last 20% of a task that I feel like I'm super focused and I get it done. And I'm kind of slowly realizing that with myself. Like that's when I'm quite good. So maybe I need to work back and be like, okay, this month I need to. This is the deadline is this month, rather than a year, which we were given in our task, right? With the family, the challenge is a
Yeah,
year. I'm like, nah, a year doesn't work for me. I work best on a day deadline. You give me this evening to get something launched. I'll work really hard to try and get it done. And breaking tasks down. But I've
yeah,
also realized as well that, and I think it's just with plans at the moment that I'm risk averse at the moment in this point in my life, and I think it's because I'm saving quite hard to to buy property. We've obviously talked about this in the past,
yeah,
and for me to turn around and be like, I'm going to spend, because some of these ideas will cost a lot of money to get started, and
yeah,
to give it to give
100%.
it its length of time that it needs. I do think you need to spend a lot of money getting it set up and get it running. But I know you can do MVPs and set it up really cheaply and test the idea. So that's what I'm trying to do is get a basic, do a basic website, sign up form, create a website, and do some Facebook ads. £100, right? You could do that, and you can get an idea. And we've
Yeah,
done it in the past, Jimmy, with drop shipping and stuff. It doesn't cost an arm and
yeah.
a leg.
Drop shipping we
Yeah,
tried.
but I
No.
think I've slowly realised that it's a deadline thing, procrastinating, and risk averse at the moment because I'm trying to save money. That's
Okay.
that's my
I,
thing.
I think it's perfect, great advice because I think me and you are perfect examples of a lot of people have probably similar to us who have came up with ideas, had ideas, thought about doing them. Other things have came in front, like as you say, getting a property, being in it. Like for myself, in a relationship, moved city, um, first moved out of the house, having bills, just life kind of gets in front of things, as things do. So if you are listening to this and you're in the same position, don't feel bad if you're not doing something you're not doing. Like, there's tons of people out there, such as me and Gregor, were perfect examples of that. Um, just jot them down. I think Gregor does a great job of keeping the ideas. I'm not as good as Gregor, and it's something I want to improve on and sort of getting ideas jotted down. And start coming up with a little bit more. But we're both young, 21, 26,
Yeah,
25.
exactly. Cheers, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's so bad. Um, but yeah, like there's plenty of time in life to figure that out, and then actually, when we are ready for it, we'll have all the right ideas, and we can make sure that we're making the right
I think
decision. I
as
think.
well is a lot of the time when we've done the gardening stuff in the past, we just went for it. I think because at that time in our lives
Yeah.
where we feel like, what's the risk, what's the hassle, let's do it. There's an opportunity, and you think about how much you've learned during that
Yeah.
period of time. You learned loads. So I think as well,
Yeah.
it's a lot of take it as a learning opportunity. I am trying to learn with these ideas and figure out how to test them. That is making me go like, okay, what? That's made me realize learn a lot about myself. I'm a procrastinator. I'm maybe risk averse at the moment in my life. So yeah, you know, ideas as much as it's the execution that is where the value is. But I need to have
Yeah.
ideas first of all. So I think we're getting that right. Maybe not you, Jimmy, but you'll get there. But yeah,
Thanks.
it's a work in progress basically.
Yeah. Well, that's been a great episode. I hope everyone's enjoyed listening. If you do have any ideas and you want to share them with us, please comment down below. Obviously, if you're on Spotify, go over to our YouTube channel. We do have a YouTube channel here as well. It's called McEwen Builds as well. Just give us a follow, write down some comments, some ideas. It'd be great to sort of hear from you. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you all
Right, see you
next
next
week.
week.
Thanks. Peace out.
Peace out.